up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV, back at it again with another one. Just shout out to you guys. I appreciate all the support, showing love to the most recent videos. Today, we're going to talk about a consensus top 10 high school player, formerly a national champion at the college level, and a guy that played a few seasons in the NBA. One of my favorite players that came through that I love to watch, one of my favorite left-handed players, and that's Terrance Jones. What is he up to? Let's get into it.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
Like we mentioned, Terrance Jones was a consensus top 10 player in the 2010 class coming out of high school. He averaged 30 points a game, 14 boards, and 6 rebounds. He also won 3 straight state titles in Oregon at Jefferson High School. Jones was named a McDonald's All-American and played in the Jordan Brand Classic game as well. Now, he originally committed to Washington, but then he changed his mind and took his talents to Big Blue Nation, committing to Coach John Calipari and Kentucky. His freshman year, Jones and Deron Lamb, them boys was hooping. They set the single game scoring record for freshmen in back-to-back weeks. Jones had been getting buckets his whole life. Kentucky made the Final Four led by Jones, Lamb, Brandon Knight, and Enes Kanter that freshman season for him. Now, after that season, Jones and Lamb elected not to go pro like their other teammates and came back for another year and were part of one of the best UK teams in the history of their program. Jones was ready to lead a new team featuring the freshman Phenom Anthony Davis. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Marquise Teague, and Darius Miller were also freshmen. From the jump, Jones set the tone that season. He set the scoring record in their annual blue vs. white scrimmage with 52 points, the all-time record. That season, he went on to average 12 points and 7 boards as the glue guy for this group. They won the Natty, of course, and their entire starting lineup, plus one more, went pro, and they set a record for most players to enter one draft. Jones' game at Kentucky was so smooth, man. He was just so versatile, one of those new age forwards. They really ran the offense through him in AD. Jones could beat bigger defenders off the dribble. He could absolutely bully smaller defenders in the post. A nice shot blocker, and he could spread the floor and shoot the three. I was a huge fan of Jones' game, just the way he played, so physical, and that intensity, that chip on the shoulder that he carried. That led to Jones being drafted 18th overall by the Houston Rockets in the 2012 draft. His first year, he saw a lot of G League action. The Rockets were in year 2 with James Harden at that point, and they had a veteran core that played most of the games. They won 45 games that year, so it was tough for him to crack the rotation. And another former Wildcat, Patrick Patterson, was actually starting ahead of him on the depth chart. The next year, the Rockets added Dwight Howard. Jones worked his way into the starting lineup, though, at the 4. He became the second youngest Rocket ever to score 30 or more points when he put up 36 on the Bucks. But then the injuries started creeping in. Jones went on to miss the next 41 games that year due to a nerve inflammation in his left leg. He came back at the start of the next season, getting buckets like he naturally does, but that strong play was followed by a collapsed lung and then followed by a concussion. He couldn't catch a break. He got hit in the face and ended up with a lacerated eyelid and stitches that scratched his eye. In 2016, Jones crashed into another vehicle on his way to the Rockets' flight to Phoenix. He remained in the hospital for 2 days for testing, and he was out the remaining 3 games that season before the All-Star break. He eventually returned to action on February 23rd, but he only lasted 4 games before the Rockets deactivated him indefinitely on March 2nd of that year due to a respiratory illness. He was the starting power forward majority of that season. Unfortunately, in 2016, that would end his tenure with the Rockets. His second stop was with the New Orleans Pelicans, and he would team up with one of his former teammates, Anthony Davis, from college. He was only there 7 months, though. From July 22nd, 2016 to February 23rd, 2017, He still showed some flashes in limited time though, being able to score that rock at a high level. He started for an injured Anthony Davis a couple times and made the most of it. He scored a career-high 36 points that season and another impressive 26-point outing that same season. Unfortunately though, after that season concluded, Jones was waived. The Pelicans brought in another, you can't get away from these Kentucky guys, another Kentucky standout came to replace him when the Pelicans brought in DeMarcus Cousins, and that was it for him. The Bucks ended up picking him up the next month though, and he played in just 3 games, then was waived on April Fool's Day in 2017. After that, he took his talents to the international waters. He played 9 games in China where he was hooping, averaging 22 points per game, 11 rebounds, a little double-double, 3 assists, and a steal. He played with the Erie Bayhawks. Then in 2019, he returned to the team that drafted him. Jones signed with the Rockets, 2 10-day contracts, but they ended up letting him walk. He spent a day on assignment with the Rio Grande Valley Vipers. After all those stops, he kind of settled into the Philippines for a while, where he was dropping 40 balls on the reg with TNT Catropa. Jones was crowned as the PBA's best import of the conference that season, and there were some other pros too. Now, over the last 4 years, he's played for multiple teams in Taiwan and Puerto Rico, and that's where he's at now. Most recently, last month on April 10th, Jones was signed by the Leones de Ponce of the Baloncesto Superior Nacional. He was an injury replacement for their import player, Eric Pascal. Y'all remember him with the Warriors, big body. Now, right now, he's currently killing over there, averaging 21 points per game so far, and he's leading the team in scoring, and he's averaging 8 boards. But as a team, they're struggling at 7 and 12, so they're going to be looking to turn that around. But it's nice to see my guy still hooping, doing his thing, man. I love those left-handed guys, and just look so pretty when they shoot the ball, still showing that athleticism and just dominating. Y'all think he can make a comeback to the league? Holler at me in the comments and let me know what y'all think. I appreciate y'all tuning in. As for us, that's a wrap. It's been your boy, Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV, and this is Live with Brandon Blakeney. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You dig?